Well, hello, my friends. Thank you for joining us again on this beautiful Friday. Today, I want to talk to you about a very, very important subject. And it's a subject that I've had people from time to time in my ministry come to me and they say, I feel like I have blasphemed the Holy Spirit. And there's a question, in fact, in Matthew chapter 12 and Mark chapter 3 and Luke chapter 11, all three of these tell that blaspheming the Holy Spirit is a sin that cannot be forgiven. And so it's a scary thing to blaspheme the Holy Spirit. And so when people come to me and say, I feel really bad, I feel like I've blasphemed the Holy Spirit and I don't believe that God can forgive me, I usually encourage them and let them know that if you have a desire for God, you haven't blasphemed the Holy Spirit. In my Bible reading today, I came across the commentary that in the Fire Bible, it's the English Standard Version, but the commentary in the Bible I thought gave a very good explanation of the process of blaspheming the Holy Spirit, and I believe that it is a process. But let me just read it to you, and hopefully it'll clear up some things for you. But the Holy Spirit, of course, plays a major role in bringing us to Christ. And it's the dangerous process. I'm just going to read this. The dangerous process that leads to blasphemy against the Spirit is as follows. Number one, it's a continually grieving the Spirit. Number two, resisting the Spirit leads to putting out the Spirit's fire. Number three, putting out the Spirit's fire leads to a hardened heart. Number four, hardening the heart leads to a corrupt and perverted mind that is not open to God. When this heart attitude reaches a certain point, only God knows where that point is, the Spirit will no longer try to lead that person towards God. And without the Spirit's prompting, people will never be able to come to God or accept His truth on their own. Anyone who is guilty of that sin would have no desire to be forgiven or turn to God. In other words, when we look at this as a whole, it is a constant rejecting the wooing or the drawing of the Holy Spirit. Now, that's why it's so important. If you feel the Holy Spirit or you feel the Lord leading you in something, you need to respond to that. But this constantly rejecting brings to a point to where one no longer feels the Spirit, but not just feels the Spirit, one no longer has a desire to seek God, after God. And so it's a process. And I will say this to you, my friends, that if you are concerned that you might have blasphemed the Holy Spirit and you can't be forgiven, I want to say that if you've got a desire to serve God or a desire to get back into a relationship with God, I don't believe that you have blasphemed the Holy Spirit. I believe that blaspheming the Holy Spirit is rejecting God so much that, or so many times, that your heart becomes hardened and it's not just a no longer feeling. Now, we all go through times when we don't feel the Spirit. And so we can't really go by the feelings. But the fact is, and I believe where blaspheming the Holy Spirit comes in, is when we have rejected the Holy Spirit so much that we no longer want the things of God. Our heart becomes hardened, just like I believe Pharaoh's heart was hardened. And there's many people in our culture, in our society today, that have a hardened heart. They no longer even seek the things of God. But I'm not the one to say that they have blasphemed the Holy Spirit. Only God knows where that point is. But for you and I, as we seek God, as we in His presence, we've always got to yield to Him and be careful not to continually reject His Spirit drawing us. So if you have a desire for God today, you don't need to worry. You've never blasphemed, or you haven't blasphemed the Holy Spirit. But I encourage you, don't ever get to that point. God bless you. Look forward to seeing you back here on Monday. Bye-bye.